Good morning, Internet. This is Alex does Sudokus, and it is the 8th of September 2020. So I've not done any medium puzzles the last few days, admittedly, because I've lost a bit of motivation since I'm not really getting much views at the moment, but I thought I'd try and come back and do some more. So yeah, I think I'll just do a normal one today, and let's get started. So let's see, these ones and that one locks all those cells, giving me a 1 over here. So we're just starting with what's called Snyder notations, where we're pencil marking 2 cells at a time within a cage, and if we have more than 2 possible candidates within the cage, we don't do anything with it basically. If we've got 1, we can place it. If we've got 2, we're going to pencil mark it. And we've got any more than that, we're going to leave them alone. And that has an advantage of helping us solve the puzzle more quickly. Not necessarily more quickly, but with the least amount of pencil marking possible, basically. But quite often, it is useful in itself, depending on your normal methodology. Anyway, so this 2, looking into this cage, locks the 2 in those 2 cells. Have got any other interactions? I can't see anything else. 3, we've only got 1 3, so I'm just going to bear that in mind, that 3 is what's considered a weak number. It may be useful later, it may not. These 2 4s locks a pair of 4s over here, because these 2 columns are taken now. These 2 4s locks the rows, so the 4s have to be there. That 4 and that 4 locks a pair of 4s over there. And let's see, I think that's all I can do with 4, so let's have a look at 5s. Well, these 2 5s locks a pair of 5s over here as well, and that creates what's called a matching pair. I think that's what it's called. Maybe useful later, but it basically means no other numbers can go into these 2 cells, because if they do, then I can't possibly place one of the numbers, basically. I only have like 1 cell left for both the numbers 4 and 5, because bearing in mind the 5s and the 4s can't go in any of the other cells at all. So 4s and 5s have to go in there, they can't go anywhere else, and no other numbers can go in there basically. So let's continue on with the 5s. 5s. Oh, it looks like we can't do anything else anyway, so let's have a look at the 6s. So this 6 sees those 2 cells, and that 6 sees that cells, giving us a pair of 6s. Although actually, I have another 6 over here, so that erases that pencil marking, locking a 6 over there. So let's see, now these 2 6s forces the 6 in the middle column, and we've only got 1 place for it, so we can place it as well. And this 6 now acts with that 6, locking those cells, giving me a pointed pair. So with pointed pair of numbers, what it means is the 6 has to be in this column only within this cage, because these are the only 2 positions it can be in within this cage, and it means within the same column as well, they can only be in these 2 positions. And if so, there's already 6 taking up this column, so I've got a 6 and a pointed pair of 6. I only have column 6 to play with, and I've got a 6 here locking that cell, so that places another pair of 6s. So with that in mind, I'm just going to pencil mark in the rest of the 6s. So these 2 6s gives me another pair. So what about 7s? I have a pair of 7s here, thanks to that 7 and these 2 7s. Let's see, that 7 on its own as well locks a pair of 7s over here, because we know 7s can't go in there already. So that also means this pointed pair looking back blocks that cell, and the 7 has to be in that column, and this 7 tells me where, giving me 2 positions basically. I think that's it for the 7s. So 8s, I've got a pair of 8s, locking a pair of 8s up there. And let's see, looks like that's all I can do with the 8s. So let's move on to 9s. I have a pair of 9s over there, thanks to that 9 and that 9. So although that 9 also does the same thing. So what about over here? I've got another pair of 9s with the same pair of 9s interacting in the other cage. So that creates another pointed pair of 9s looking down. It means I have another pair of 9s here, thanks to this 9 blocking the bottom row. So, at a glance, I think that's all the pencil markings I can do. So, at this stage, what may be worth doing is having a look at the board, just step back a little bit and see, can we do anything right now, basically. And what we're looking for are weak areas. Although we haven't got many, we haven't got any areas in either the rows, columns, or the cages that are left with just 2 or 3 cells. Those basically creates pairs and triples. The minimum dimension we have are 4 cells, either in the cage or in the column. Bearing in mind the 4s and 5s have to be in these 2 positions, so we can ignore them and just try and look for what's in the remaining 4 cells, basically. So, well, actually, that's a lie. That's a triple area, so why don't we have a look at that? So the only remaining numbers in this column are 1, 3, and 8. So I've got 3 up there. Can I see an 8 as well? I can't. Can't see it. I can see a 1 over here, but I can't see a 3 or an 8. So that means these 3 cells all contain 2 possible candidates in each cell, so we can't resolve them just yet. So it may be worth just doing another quick round of notations, Snyder notations. And in fact, if I start with the 1s, the 1 locks these 2 cells and that 1 locks that cell. That actually means the 1 goes there. And with that in mind, we can now solve the triple, because the 3 cannot go in this cell, so the 3 has to go down here, meaning the 8 has to go up here now as the final candidate within the column. So now we've created another area of 2 here, 2 cells. So it has to be the remaining 2 digits, which are 7s and 8s. So that essentially gives us 2 matching pairs. So that pair of 8 points upwards, meaning we have another pair of 8. Well, another 8 in these 3 cells. And we know where it is because of that 8. They have to be in these 2 cells. And that creates another matching pair, 7s and 8s. So we've created 2 new weak areas, which are these within the cage or within the column. So let's have a quick look at that. We're missing a 2 and a 3. So we have a 3 over there. That means that cannot be a 2. Sorry, that can't be a 3, so it has to be a 2. So that has to be a 3. And what about this column? We are missing a 1 now. Bearing in mind the 7, 8, 4 and 5 are out of play, so 1 has to go here. That means we have another 2 cells left, a weak area left in this cage, and we are left with 2s and 9s. We can see a 2 over there, so 2 has to go here and 9 has to go there. And let's see, I think that's all I can do for now, so let's continue on to look at the weak areas. We have another weak area generated over here, which is a triple, and they are 6, 9 and 3. The reason I'm able to tell 6 and 9 straight away is because I've got pencil markings for 6 and 9, and providing the pencil markings are correct, they are the only candidates left. So 6 and 9s are in play, and a 3, but we can't see any 3s. But we can see 6 and 9 in this cell, and we can also see the pencil marking 6 and 9 not touching that cell, so we know that can't be 6 or 9, meaning the 3 has to go in here. So now we're left with 6 and 9 in these 2 cells, but we can't see in 6 or 9 in either cells, so we'll leave that alone for now. Does that 3 do anything for us? It locks a pair of 3s down there, and does it do anything else interesting? Not that I can see right now, so it hasn't created any other weak areas for us. So we may be worth just going around the board again to just complete any additional pencil markings we can. So let's see, so ones, I've got a pair of ones over there, so this one locks that cell, meaning the one has to go in this cell, and these two ones now locks a one up here, and now these two ones locks a pair of ones over there, but I've got one here as well seeing into that cell, so the final one actually goes there. So that's all the ones completed. So what about twos? I've got a pair of twos over here. We haven't got any other twos that I can see, so let's move on to threes. 3, 3, 3. Can't see anything with 3, so fours. I can't see anything with fours either. Fives, so fives are locked in these two cells thanks to that 5 and that 5 there. That creates a pointed pair, so looking down with the normal 5 locks the 5 in these two cells. Okay, so anything else I can do? Oh yeah, I actually have a 5 and a 5 looking into these cells, so 5s are locked in these two cells horizontally, so as a pointed pair they look over to the right and basically kicks out the 5 from this cell, because the 5 cannot be in any other cells within the row. So that means if I erase a pencil marking, since I only pencil marking 2 candidates per cage, if I take one out, then the other 5 within the cage has to be the remaining position. So that helps me confirm the 5s, and that's kind of how Snyder notations are quite powerful, basically. One thing I noticed I missed out is this 8 erases the pencil marking 8 there, and the reason I noticed that now is because I noticed there's a weak area of 2, but I've got 3 pencil markings in, so one of them has to be incorrect. And by quickly scanning the row, I noticed the 8 has already been placed. So effectively that pushes the 8 up there, because I've just erased a pencil marking of 8. And that also means the 8's lift over here, creating another matching pairs of 2s and 8s. So basically 2s and 8s are now locked in these positions. So that has an interesting effect of basically telling me that has to be a 4 now. And the reason I know that's a 4 without even checking what the other number is because 4 is already pencil marked in. Within the row, the only remaining playable cells are within the same cage. That means if this cell could have been a 4, I would have pencil marked in the 4 already. And the fact that I haven't pencil marked this cell in means the only other 4 has to be somewhere else within the cage. It means it can't live in this cell. So therefore, I know that's a 4. And bearing in mind this only works if the remaining candidate within a row or column lives within the same cage, basically, and you've got pencil markings. So I don't know if that kind of makes any sense, but try not to be overzealous in placing the candidate. So anyway, by placing that 4, it tells me that I have a 3 remaining within this cage, within this row, so 3 has to go in here because it can't go in the 2 and 8. So that 3 doesn't actually do anything else for us besides locking a pair of 3s over there. So what about over here? Now, I can see a 7 candidate, but that doesn't mean that's a 7 because the 2 remaining cells actually live in separate cages. So this can still be a 7 that I haven't pencil marked in yet. So let's see, these are 7s and 4s actually. So I have a 4 in this cage, so the 4 has to be over there. So 7 goes here. So that's a demonstration of how just because I've got pencil marking in within a row doesn't mean that it is a 7. They have to fall within the same cage, basically. All the remaining cells have to be within the same cage. Hope that makes sense. So anyway, we are now left with a pair of 5s and 9s over here, and these are 3s and 7s. Now remember what we said. On the row, we have 2 remaining cells, and they're within the same cage now. So I can resolve this 3 and 7 because 7 has to go there. In fact, I think I could have placed a 7 early on because I must have erased it at some point. So 3, oh yeah, I erased the 7 when I placed the 4, didn't I? So the 3 and 7 are now placeable. So now that 3 in conjunction with the other 3 locks a 3 over here because of that 3 locking out the bottom row. So have we placed all the 3s? No, we haven't. So this new 3 that we just placed works with that 3 locking a pair of 3s over here in this cage, but we've already got a 3 over there, so 3 can't go there, it has to be over here, which means 3 can't go here now. So I have to erase the pencil marking in, and the only remaining 3 has to be correct, and I've just erased a 6, so 6 has to go there, and that 6 erases the 6 over there as well, so 6 has to go over here. But also within the row we only have a 9 left, so 9 has to go there, so I can erase the other 9. It also means the 9 is locked in these 2 cells as well, because I've got these 2 9s now. And also the other effect these 2 9s have is, if we look at these 2 cages, the 9s are living only within these 2 columns. They can only be in these 2 columns, in the columns 5 and 6. Well, I have to have a 9 in column 4 somewhere. Well, it can't be in these 2 cages, it has to be in the remaining cage. And I actually have a 9 looking into that cell, so I know that has to be the 9. So that 9 erases another 9, giving me another 9. So we've created another weak area of 2, so I know they're 4s and 5s, but I can see a 4 over there, so that solves the 5 and the 4, and that 4 resolves the matching pair of 4s and 5s basically. And that 5 now looks over here, erases the 5, places another 5. Let's continue on with the 5s as well, because we have a 5 down here that erases that 5, placing the 5 and the 9. So what I'm going to do now as well is, if I have any more matching pairs, I'm just going to place them rather than erasing them. So this 9 erases the 9 over there, places the 9, and I think that's all the 9s. It's creating a little weak area, 2s and 7s. I've got 7 up there, so 2 has to go in here, 7 has to go over here. And that 7 resolves the 7-8 pair. I can place them as 7 and 8. And it also creates a weak area of 6 and 2. I can't resolve them just yet because I have no 2s down here. But it's created another weak area of 4 and something, but I already know 4 sees into that cell, so 4 has to go over here. And what is remaining here then is a 7. I could also deduce that 7 by looking at the column as well. So that 7 resolves the 8 and 7 over here, and that 8 pushes the 8 into these 2 cells. Let's see. So now with 2 8s locked in the columns 7 and 9, it means I have to have an 8 in one of these 2 cells. Well, actually it has to go in this row anyway, because it's the only remaining cells. So over here. Oh yeah, this 4 actually removes another 4 candidate, and the 2 4s looks down. I've got another 4 here, so that's the final 4. So this 8 also means, no, it was the 4, wasn't it? I've only got 1 cell left in this column, so it has to be a 2, so 2s and 6s are now resolved. And finally I have a pair of 8s and 6s. I have a 6 over there, so that has to be the 8, and that has to be the 6. So that 8 resolves the 2 and the 8, and allows me to place the final 2 in here. And that is today's medium New York Times Sudoku. I hope that's been helpful. Please like and subscribe if it's useful, and I shall see you tomorrow. Bye.